progress.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the May 15th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I'm First Selectman Colin Mull, and I call this meeting to order. Everyone would please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 2 is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room?
I'm sorry?
Is there any public comment in the room?
Public comment before.
Public comments right now. And there's one after too, so is there any public comment?
So if I have some comment concerning the landfill
Yep,
issue,
now's your
would
time.
that be now or after?
Can be
Now, vote.
One or both?
Just need you to state your name and address, please, for the record.
Step right up.
Well, my name is Scott Graves. I have a summer residence now at this stage of my life on 535 Forest Road in West Suffield. And I don't know exactly what the new proposed regulation is, but I've heard some rumors. And it seems unfair if what I'm hearing is the case, that I hear you want vehicles registered in this town bringing trash into the dump. I hear you would want a Suffield, Connecticut driver's license. So if I'm a Florida snowbird, obviously I can't have a license in 2 states. Uncle Sam doesn't allow that. And even though I do have some vehicles registered in this town, paying taxes on them in this town, I don't have all of my vehicles registered in this town. Right now, I might even have 2 pickup trucks, one registered in Florida and one registered in Suffield. But I don't have a Suffield driver's license. If what I'm hearing is true, it just doesn't seem fair at all to me. Keep in mind that as a veteran, when I homesteaded down in Florida, I give up my homestead exemption in this town, so I'm paying even additional taxes into this town. I'm paying well over $10,000 in property tax. And when I'm only here 5 months of the year, I'm not a guy bringing trash in 12 months of the year either. I'm only here as seasonal. So it seems unfair to me that I hope there is some gray area in this regulation that will allow somebody like myself to be able to dump trash. Never mind the fact that my father worked for that dump for years, Russell Graves, and I've been a resident in this town for about 50 years off and on. Grew up in West Suffield. So that's what I wanted to say.
All right, thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? All right. Is there any public comment on Zoom? Any public comment on Zoom? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to item 3, is approval of the minutes from the May 1st, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen.
This is Kathy Harrington. I would move that they be adopted as drafted.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
So this is Kathy Harrington. I would make a motion to add agenda item 3A for discussion and approval of resolution for EMPG fiscal year 2023 competitive pool funding.
Thanks, Kathy. The motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 3A is the Emergency Management Performance Grant. So we recently received an opportunity to apply for the EMP grant, which would provide us opportunity to replace the state emergency trailer we currently have that is in disrepair and purchase, and purchase our own. The trailer houses cots and other emergency supplies that allows our emergency services to deploy from anywhere, cutting down time to load and unload. The grant is not reimbursable, so we would purchase it once we receive it. The board just needs to approve the resolution, which has been done in the past. The resolution authorizes the town of Suffield to enter into an agreement with the Connecticut Department of Emergency Services, and we are applying for $15,000. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
What's the cost of the trailer?
Right around 50,000.
Oh,
Everything else is.
okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. We can go up to 25,000, but this is what we thought was. Any other questions? I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
All right. Motion is made. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 4 is discussion and approval to reappoint Kelly J. Nuzzi to Amplify through May 31st, 2025.
I move that we reappoint Kelly Giannuzzi to Amplify through May 31st, 2025.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
I just have a question, is that only a one-year appointment?
It's through May 31, 2025. Yep.
Yeah, but that's next year.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 5 is discussion and approval to reappoint Martin Page as an alternate member of the Permanent Building Commission through 5/31/2028.
This is Kathy Harrington, so moved.
Motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 6 is discussion and approval to reappoint a new member to the Kent Memorial Library Commission to fill the remainder of Les Webb's term through November 30th, 2027.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Jerry Mahoney, I move that we appoint Mr. Bob Parks to the Kent Memorial Library Commission to fill the remainder of Les Webb's term through November 30, 2027.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a nomination to Fred Schweitzer to fulfill the terms of Les Webb's appointment.
Okay, so I had the opportunity to meet most of the candidates, and I think they all have great qualifications to be on the library commission. I'm not opposed to any of them. I do think that Mr. Parks has strong prior town board and commission experience. Being on, I believe I sent you guys his bio, on the boards that he was, Board of Education, I think I saw planning and zoning. And I think if we're saying that we need some leadership on there, that might right the ship a little bit better.
Well, I think if you look at Fred's background as provost of the university, he certainly comes with pretty special credentials. He's shown his interest in the library, his involvement. He's articulate, he writes well. He certainly had a lot of leadership experience at the university. And I've known Bob for a long time, nothing personal, but I think we need to balance the commission. There are already 5 Republicans and only 2 Democrats. The other question I have, are we do the other appointment tonight too?
No, I just sent out that to the political parties. I'm still waiting for the TTC to send somebody.
So again, I'm endorsing Fred Schweitzer.
Okay, the motion was for Bob Parks, so.
So, Jerry Mahoney, just in response to the comments that Selectman Chaffetz made. So we are fortunate that we've had what I would consider quality folks who are interested in serving. Fred as a Democrat, Ms. McCool as an independent, Mr. Parks is a Republican. In this particular case, I think we have to recognize that the reason that we have an opening is because of some conduct by someone on the DTC that led to a resignation. And for that reason, I think that in this particular instance, the only appropriate measure would be to replace the Republican who resigned due to that conduct by someone on the DTC with a Republican.
Is that going to be the same argument you're going to use when we go to the second candidate?
I expect so, yes, because that resignation is for the same reason.
So we're going to, again, have we 7 Republicans on there, 2 Democrats. Where's the balance?
Well, Mr. Chaffetz, what I would just suggest to you is that I don't recall when there were 8 Democrats and 1 Republican that you had any problem with balance whatsoever on the library commission.
I was not very little involved with who got appointed. In fact, I was on the commission. So so unilaterally, people who wanted reappointment, which we've always done, was not carried out. We put Republicans on, and we're going to continue to do that.
I would echo Mr. Selectman Mahoney's comments that we really wouldn't be here if, certain actions, behaviors didn't occur.
I mean, I'm not defending that. I'm just saying we're in a new day, and we're trying to appoint somebody. We should have balance on the library commission. This is not balance.
I mean, just to be, if what I've said already is not direct enough, I don't believe that people who have engaged in bad behavior should be rewarded for that bad behavior.
But, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But Mr. Schweitzer didn't do anything wrong.
100%.
So we're casting all Democrats as bad because he's not worthy to be on there because he's a Democrat, and we're punishing him for what other Democrats have done.
I have not said that all Democrats are bad. I
But you
have not
just,
said that.
yourself and First Selectman just said, if it wasn't for the behavior of these Democrats, we wouldn't be in this case. And you very well, you are correct. But that doesn't mean that all Democrats shouldn't be given a shot. And for the board to say that they're not going to be appointed because they're a Democrat, I don't think is right.
The person who engaged in the bad behavior should not be rewarded for that bad behavior. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Agreed, but that person is not up for appointment.
Then,
It's true.
why don't we put Tess up there?
I'm sorry.
Why don't we put Ms. McCool up there? She's very qualified.
She is.
So why don't you nominate her?
Because Mr. Schweitzer, he comes with, I think, impeccable credentials.
I think her credentials are excellent.
I agree, but as a provost of a university, I think that's exceptional. And I think he is a fantastic candidate. I don't care if he's Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, independent, I don't care. That is, his resume shines.
This is Kathy Harrington. The only thing I want to add to the discussion is I'm just very pleased with the variety of applicants that we got and that people stepped up. And I think that we're lucky to have such great volunteers step up. It's unfortunate we only have one position open and we can only make one appointment tonight.
Yep,
I echo that.
agreed.
All right, is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
All right, motion carries 3-2. Item number 7 is discussion and approval to appoint new members to the Charter Revision Commission. So before we begin, I just want to thank everyone who volunteered. You guys received those names. Let me just pull that up real quick. So we received,
Are the names on here?
They're not on here, but it's in an
no,
email
it's in a
that they
separate
sent.
email.
Yeah.
So we received 9 volunteers, including Selectman Harrington.
And just kind of stepped up since Mel took his name out of the running.
We appreciate that. My thought is that being the narrow focus that we're trying to keep it with the 3 positions and the short time frame, that we keep this group down to 5, ideally 5 people. And, because we're gonna need them back by the end of August at the latest with a decision, so we can get this on the ballot for November. And if you recall, Darlene Burrell said we needed to have everything into her by September, mid-September. So I'll open it up the floor to discussion and see what everyone else's thoughts are with the number of people at least being one.
Sure, this is Jerry Mahoney. I agree, given, I had experience on the last charter revision, and that one it was a much broader scope, and I think we had 12 people on it. Here we have finite issues to look at, and also a constricted amount of time. So I think that narrowing the number of people that are on there will give the group the best opportunity to accomplish the task that's being assigned to them.
Though we have no control, they can't expand what they want to
As,
do.
as I understand it, they can decide that they want to go off and look at some other issues. I mean, there's a pretty short time frame for them to try to do that, but,
No, I understand, but they
Yep.
have the liberty to do
yep,
that.
I think that's accurate.
Correct. Yeah, we'll give them the charge, but hopefully we'll give them a charge, but hopefully they'll stay within that. But you're not wrong. Either of you guys?
I don't see why we limit it, why not put, if they've expressed interest, put all of them on there.
Because if you see a large commission, for example, the Board of Ed, yeah, I think they've got 9 people on there. Where you have a large commission, you end up with longer meetings. It becomes more difficult for them to act.
Yeah, my experience with any board and commission meeting is the larger they are, the slower they tend to go.
Like,
And that's not saying anything against the people that are on it, it's just saying that.
No,
That's
I
the nature of the
understand.
beast.
Yeah.
so some of this stuff needs to be discussed.
Do you guys have an opinion on how many?
I kind of agree with, I'm kind of on the fence. I'd like to see 7, but I totally understand Jerry's point that first of all, I don't think they're gonna get it done in time, to be honest. If they do it right and do all that research, and you know how much work that, it's a really tight timeline for them to do that. So I could see limiting it to 5, but I also like the idea of 7 because the other 2 people also have friends and neighbors that they can bring into the mix and other viewpoints.
Jerry, from your experience last time, I would assume at some meetings not everybody can attend for one reason or another.
Actually, we had very good attendance. I mean, yes, there were some, meetings where not everyone was there out of the 12,
Yeah,
but as a general matter, we had very good attendance.
okay. I'm just thinking if you got using the number 7, if 2 are absent for whatever reason, that gets it down to 5. If you only start with 5 and 2 are absent, now you're down to 3.
Sure. I mean,
I can see why you don't want to have like 10 or, you had 12, you said?
yeah,
Yeah. That's a whole different ballgame.
You had a lot more though, too.
yeah, it was there was a lot more.
There were
on that plate.
17 items on the ballot.
Yeah,
So there was a lot.
there was a lot.
There's a
No,
lot
I
there.
understand.
I mean, I think I could be wrong, but we were meeting at least once a month, and I think we were meeting twice a month, and it was for over a year. If we were looking at a longer time frame, I would agree with you. I would say let's put all the folks on there. But I just think that given the time that we're operating under, we really need to keep it to 5. That's where I'm coming from.
I agree with 5, Selectman Harrington. Thoughts?
I mean, I agree with the comments tonight. I think if we had a longer period of time, I think we could go with more. I think you're also looking at the summertime, and so the fewer people, to get their schedules together, to get a meeting scheduled together, to figure out when they're going to meet, and have set up regular meetings. My understanding is, don't we have a consultant that can do a lot of the research and background, get the information to them? So that should help really streamline their work. I thought 5 would be good, and I was hopeful to not take up a spot and perhaps be designated as the first selectman's designee, so that I could help and assist and not take up a spot, so that, because again, like with the library commission, I feel like we got some great candidates here, and people who are willing and able to step up and have a great varied background, and I just wanted to get as many of them on as I could, while still keeping it very manageable.
I think there's some great names on here too.
I'm sorry,
I
Colin.
think there's some great names on here. I think it's a matter of just getting it down. If we're gonna at least pick 5, let's start with 5. If we want to go to 7, 7 in there.
Again, I think 7 would be a reasonable number, not too unwieldy.
I'm familiar with Michael Haynes, Ray Dalrymple, Paul Christian, George Austin, Sandra Janik, Eric Remington. I'm not familiar with Jeremy Lambert or Frederick DeBoer.
Oh, they're all Republicans.
I said just that. Are either of you guys familiar with Frederick or
I am not, no.
Jeremy? No. Anyone have any recommendations?
So I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Jeremy Lambert, Frederick DeBoer, Eric Remington, Michael Haynes, and Ray Dalrymple, and charge the Charter Revision Commission to review changing the treasurer, town clerk, and tax collector positions from elected to hired positions with a deadline to report to the Board of Selectmen by August 21, 2024, and allow the first selectman to set the date for the first meeting and call that meeting to order.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any further
Hey.
discussion?
I don't have the list in front of me, is there, I think they're Democrat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So he, it was Jeremy Lambert and Sandra Janik?
Jeremy Lambert, Frederick DeBoer
Frederick DeBoer.
are both Democrats.
Right, those are Democrats. And then
Okay.
Eric Remington, Michael Haynes, and Ray Dalrymple.
So there's folks that have volunteered.
Yeah.
There's a Republican, there's a Democrat who,
Yeah.
volunteered, but keeping it to the 5.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
I just say, I still like the idea of 7. I think we're just gonna shorten, especially it's over the summer. We're gonna have more absences than usual.
Well, I would expect that the people who volunteered understand, the timeline we're under and what they're volunteering for.
No, I understand that, but things come up in everybody's lives, that's all.
And if we could just let them know that, obviously we want them to meet and do their work, but I don't want it, I prefer it, well, no, I don't want it rushed. Like, if they can't meet the deadline, it's okay, we'll just go to, I say we just go to next November. I know we
Right.
want to get it done for this November, but if we can't, I'd rather have a good product than a rushed product.
I agree with you. If they come back and they say, we were not able to get this done within this time frame, then we'll I would think we would be revisiting this.
Yep.
Well, we've already talked about a second commission at Common Road.
Yeah. All right, is there any?
And, well, we can add, so let's say they don't get it done. We can add people, I think, right? There's no,
I'd have
Well,
to just talk to Derek about
yeah.
whether it would be an entirely new charge.
My gut would be, at that point, then, so they would be reporting back by August 21, 2024. If their report back is, we weren't able to accomplish this in the time frame, then, I think that at that point, they will have completed the task that's assigned to them. And if the Board of Selectmen wants to pursue a new charter revision, at that point, the Board of Selectmen would have to essentially start where we are now.
We could see if they were still interested in serving.
Yep.
And
I mean,
we could
save all the
expand it.
work and then just start,
We could expand
with
the
a new-
charge and we could have them.
Exactly.
could be the same 5 plus.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed, I'd
Right.
like to see 7.
Motion carries 4-1. Item number 8 is discussion and approval of landfill policy. In my email I sent you guys last week, I had mentioned that I think we should approve the landfill policy with the highlights, which is just taking care of the permit and the fees, what we originally were looking at. So it would update all the fees and it would just bring back the permitting process, which stopped around 2019. And then we can work on everything else afterwards. But at least if we want to shoot for a July 1st timeline to start on the permits, we can give Director Corbett enough time to get everything squared away on this end.
In reaction to the gentleman's question, is there any, if somebody lives out of state part of the year and has a residency here, is there any restriction from them having a permit?
So I don't think that this is is gonna impact, so we had a whole discussion last time about commercial plates and, you know, that whole thing. That's not part of this, okay, so there's,
Except that I think that doesn't the first section say in order
I'm
to
sorry,
get
Kathy, I
let's
can't
take a
hear.
look.
I think the first section says that in order to get a resident permit, you must show both a driver's license and a vehicle registration with a Suffield address.
That's true.
So I definitely do think that's something we need to work on for someone who owns property in town, such as Mr.
Well, that's my
Graves.
point, that's what doesn't seem fair.
But I think that's something that we can work on here.
I just gotta pull this up, I apologize.
Do you want to look at mine?
Yeah, frozen.
This is the first one right here.
I know.
Yeah. And then it talks about contractors after that.
Yeah,
But
There's contractors, there's a
Yeah.
number of new fees in there for tires and
Right.
overweight, oversized tires and this and that. I just think.
was this, I'm sorry, it did say, nothing in this section shall inhibit any resident from accessing bulky waste?
yep.
Is that the
But-
section you're thinking of? That's just bulky
Uh,
waste though.
Right. I still think it's still convoluted, even the highlighted area. I'm gonna vote no on it as it is. I think if you just take away the fees and raise it to $50 or $75 a year, and just make it easier, you know, there's so much in there, you know, they're gonna need a price list, and if someone has to go over well, we're not talking about the scale, but it's really busy up there on a Saturday. I was up there this Saturday, and there were 8 trucks right in that general area.
But none of this changes that, so we already charge for this money for everything we see in section D. It's just that we're losing money on it. And then the first 3 items I'm highlighting is just adding the permit. So there's absolutely nothing that changes besides,
They're charging for
We're already-
tanks.
yeah, you already charge for all this stuff. It's just that what originally brought it up was that when we go to get rid of it, we're losing money on it. So that these
Yeah.
prices based off of what the lead man, Joe Duvall had said a year ago was that this would get us to break even.
I'm sorry I missed the discussion last meeting, but a previous meeting, there was concern that some of the workers up there get into a hassle with some of the people who come up there.
This, the portion that is highlighted here doesn't really get into that, Mel.
Okay.
So the other paragraphs essentially was trying to deal with, at least as I understand it, trying to reach a fair way to charge folks for bulky waste, okay? And the discussion that we had last time, we received information from the DPW director and the gentleman who's in charge of the landfill. And in brief, the fee that we're charging here is lower than any other surrounding
I
town.
saw that.
And if we were to be charging for going over the scale, which what we're talking about now is not, okay, the fee that was proposed for that is also the lowest fee of any surrounding town. But we're not even getting to that right now, because I think the first selectman and the director of the DPW would just like to at least get these fees back on the board, which have been, as I understand it, absent for 5 years now.
Yeah, the permitting has always existed, it just stopped for some reason in 2019, to which I can't speak of why.
COVID.
And,
Oh, no, that's 2019.
I don't know.
Did I address what you were?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. First Selectman, do you recall, so when the director of DPW, he has this language here, residents must show both a driver's license, well, a driver's license and a vehicle registration with a Suffield address. Do you have an understanding of why he was looking for both of those things?
I think he added the registration part because of a reason that somebody could have an out-of-state license but still have their vehicle somehow registered?
Well, I think that, so the vehicle registration with the Suffield address 100% makes sense, because the material has to be coming from a Suffield address to begin with. You know, at least that's the representation someone is supposed to be making. You know, I think the question is whether you need both a driver's license with a Suffield address and a vehicle registration with a Suffield address. And so, I mean, and I'm just thinking out loud here, what about folks who live in a different town but own property here in Suffield?
I was wondering about adding something at the end of that sentence. Maybe we could take out the driver's license part
Yeah,
and
I-
saying something about, or proof of ownership of residential property in Suffield or something along
Yeah,
that
well,
line.
Yeah, residents must show a
a
vehicle
utility bill
registration
or-
with a Suffield address.
I'm sorry, what was that? Show
Because
what
if-
Suffield-
Residents must show a vehicle registration with a Suffield address.
But what if, say for example, with somebody like Mr. Graves who, I know he said right now he has a car registered here in Suffield, but what if at the time all his vehicles are down registered in
Right.
Florida and would be able to show, but still owns residential property here and
And
lives
he
here
has
5 to 6
no
months?
vehicle registered.
No, and he just
in
drives
Suffield.
up and uses the car here for a few months. Could that person show proof of ownership of residential property in Suffield? Unfortunately, I feel like we just need to think on this just a little bit, because I do think that's a legitimate question. I would like to pass this tonight, but.
I mean, if you have multiple vehicles, as said, and something's in Connecticut, then you shouldn't have a problem. I also think there's a state statute that says that if your
For 30
vehicle
days.
is here for longer than a certain time,
I think it's 30 days, yeah.
you're required to change it.
Like, if
Yeah.
you live here within 30 days, you're supposed to get a Connecticut
Correct.
license,
Yeah.
actually,
Correct.
so. So you're just saying
for
maybe,
what it's worth.
I'm sorry, we're
It's
not
not
able
open
to
to
do
public
back and
comment.
forth,
No comment now?
no. So maybe just the property, vehicle registration like you mentioned, and not a license showing the Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, I
separate.
don't expect someone to
I'm
drive
talking about
off
vehicle
road.
registration or proof of property.
Vehicle registration.
Yeah, what we have now is vehicle
Yeah.
registration.
You know, wouldn't proof of property be better though? I mean, that shows that they, you know, they're here and they're.
That was my suggestion, I just wasn't certain.
Yeah, because
Well, what would the proof of property be? Title?
No,
I mean,
a utility bill, insurance bill, internet, anything, really. Because if I retired and moved to, had a house in Florida for 7 months, I'm most certainly registering my car in Florida and then driving it up here for the 5 months I'm up here.
You could-
So,
That's one way to do it.
You're gonna have, your car is gonna be registered here, registered in Florida, but you own property. Then how do you say you're a Suffield resident when you are?
One of the ways to show the residential property ownership is I believe you can buy a permit at both the landfill and the clerk, correct?
Correct. Yep.
So the clerk would have that in her land records, could
That's true
show,
as well.
could verify that the person owns property here. So I do
Problem
agree.
is if they go to the landfill.
I know,
Yeah.
but maybe that person would just maybe need to think ahead.
Yep.
And go to the clerk first.
I guess my question is, how did they do it in 2018? Right, because the same problem existed still.
Exactly, sure.
I mean, I'm open to adding language to this to cover, or I'm open to talking to the
I
director.
like Kathy's suggestion.
You can do
Some-
the either
Some
or,
way of showing residence.
yeah.
I think it would have to be utility bill, because in theory, I could just put your address P on my phone bill and send it to you. But yeah, look at, on Main Street.
Give people ideas.
You do that?
I did, of course I could do that. It's not right, but
Well, because you do, I'm trying to think, there are other, for like other benefits, where that's how you would show that you reside there, they tell you to show a bill
Yeah.
that comes in your name.
yeah,
Wouldn't
for
you also
utility
have a
bill.
tax bill?
Is there a database that they could access? Is there a computer at the?
No, I can't believe at the landfill.
I think it would be
No.
easier at the
They
clerk's
don't,
office.
I mean, they don't even,
Yeah, I figured they could just say,
Yeah.
taxpayers and just have it listed or.
But you could show your tax bill or something to that effect.
So I think that we could amend this, number 1, and if we do that, we would need to in the future, remember to do paragraph 8, because it's also down there about Connecticut
Yep.
license with a town address, and we'd have to add ownership there, but for tonight, I think if we strike, if that second sentence were to say, residents must show a vehicle registration with a Suffield address or proof of ownership of residential property in Suffield. And that's not the best language, I know it's not great. It's something to that effect,
Well,
for a start.
yeah, it's good enough.
And then, we think it's, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can maybe have Derek, he
Yeah.
can advise us and
Because here's the
Make it
thing,
sound better.
if we pass this tonight,
we can amend it.
the director of the DPW can do what he's gotta do to get this in the works.
Okay.
If we need to look at and consider, so what would be proof of residential property, what would be acceptable and so forth.
This way
I'm
we
not
can
even-
get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's policy, it can be amended at any
Okay.
time. So if we hit the June meeting and we're like, all right, this, we need to add
Yep.
something, change
Sure.
something.
Yeah, and that'll
So gives us
take
a month.
that long,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, or should.
Well, that's good. At least we address this issue and we can refine it if we
Yeah.
need to.
Yep.
Okay.
I swear I'm not trying to be the flying in the ointment. We can talk about it in June, but I think we should raise the fee from 25 to 40. 25 is by far the lowest around, and, you know, the costs are just gonna go up. They're, you know, and I don't think anyone that goes up there is gonna complain about an extra $15 a year. And I don't know how many people buy them, but I think it's something that we should just do it now, and then we can talk, you know, we can talk, next year maybe go to 50 or whatever, but I would like to see that raised a little bit.
Then we can discuss that in June.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I think we have to, if we're gonna do it, we should do it, because some people are gonna come in, or they're already coming in looking to buy their permits.
Yep.
So if we're gonna do it, we would have to, we should do it now.
I didn't look, I don't
So
recall off the
here,
top of my
yeah,
head.
let me just
Yeah.
take a quick
He's
look
got
here.
that, was it
Yep.
last?
I know, I.
Just give me a quick second here.
I recall there was like $75, $80,
There was a 50 in there.
yeah, there weren't too many that we were close to.
No,
So, just the fee permit, right?
Yes, which is what most of them have at the very beginning of their,
All right. So Summers was 35. It says Enfield is $10, but they have a lot of other charges. East Granby was 75. And that's all we had.
no, there's someone else.
That's all I
Try-
had.
is there a Simsbury?
There were others, there were $45
Yep.
and more.
Oh, here's this other one, okay. Okay, Simsbury. Permit, $40. And then an additional if you have like a second car. Summers was 35.
Does Lee Corbett have any feelings about it one way or the other?
Yeah, his feeling is that he would like to get the
I'm sorry?
permit.
Granby doesn't.
His feeling is
have-
that he would like to get the permit
Permit
started,
fee.
because he.
So he's more concerned about that than the fee. actually.
75 is
Yeah.
East Granby, and then Windsor. Windsor.
I think $25 is a good start. Right?
Yeah,
That's what we should
You
do.
know, I think,
Yeah.
why don't we just stick with
But I
the
understand
25
what
for
you're
now,
saying.
and we get it on the books and start moving forward.
Yeah, if we're gonna up it, we can take a look at it next year, for
Yeah.
the new fiscal year.
Yeah. I'd prefer to
I
stay.
mean, because here's
25.
what we can do, we're gonna see what this generates in terms of fees.
Yep.
And I hope and anticipate we're gonna be moving forward in the future in terms of what we do with people going over the scale.
Mhm. Generate more.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, the idea, at least from my perspective, is not just for the purpose of generating funds for the sake of generating funds. It's because we have a perishable asset that needs to be protected.
And, you know, going forward, we can also commission a landfill board or commission
Well,
to
that's
do
true.
this kind of work for
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And then come to us for approval. So,
There always was a landfill commission.
Yeah, maybe we're at that point where we can bring it back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, we'll entertain a motion.
Right, so I make a motion that the landfill and transfer station policy as highlighted and as amended by discussion here tonight is adopted by the Board of Selectmen.
All right, thank you. The motion has been made. Is there any further discussion?
I just don't like the way the policy is, even in its bare bones edition, that's all.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
All right, motion carries 4-1. Item number 9. Table that.
This is Kathy Harrington, I make a motion that we would table agenda item number 9. Do you want to table it to the June agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
I guess the reason is just the draft language is not ready yet.
Okay.
All right, we'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 10 is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Mr. Switzer? Can you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, I'm Fred Schweitzer, 165 South Stone Street. I just wanted to say thank you for considering me. I don't know Mr. Parks. I hope he does a great job. I remain interested in being helpful to the library in any way that I can, including further openings. And I also want to say that I think Tess McClue would make an outstanding member of the commission. And if political affiliation is really going to be that big of a deal and is going to be an obstacle, and I hope I hope you would look seriously at Tess anyway. But thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? Ms. McClure?
Thank you. Just wanted to echo kind of what Fred said. Just wanted to thank you for considering me for the vacancy on the commission. As I mentioned to First Selectman Mulder in my interview, even if I weren't to be selected, that I am willing to be a resource in any way that I can, being a librarian, understanding libraries and collection development, intellectual freedom. So I'm continued to be available as a resource. And I remain deeply committed to supporting our library and ensuring that it will continue to serve all the members of our community. And going forward, I would also, for the second vacancy, still be interested, but I also think Fred would be a wonderful addition as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
I'm Bob Parks, and want to thank the board for their support and
Just state your address.
on 30 Berry Place. Thank you for the support, and as I said in my resume or my biography that I sent you, I've been involved in boards and commissions in town for well over 30 years. I've been a resident of town for close to 40 years. I have a deep love for the town. I have been involved in a variety of things, and talking about the Charter Revision Committee, I was on the commission years ago. But zoning, planning, Board of Ed, a variety of other commissions, and really, this is the first time we've gotten down to politics on any commission that we've had, that I've been on. Never knew what a member was, whether Republican or Democrat, conservative, liberal. We've been above that. It's been for Suffield. And I personally have been very dedicated to making this town as good as it can get. And I just hope that, I haven't met any of the members knowingly of the Library Commission, but I would think that we can all rise above any political differences. And, you know, Mel and I go way back to the Board of Ed back in the early 2000s. And, you know, occasionally I would realize that Mel was a Democrat. But that's never gotten in the way of friendship or working on various things, making sure that whatever we were doing was for the good of Suffield. And again, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment in the room?
Again, Scott Graves, I just wanted to thank the select people for having an open mind, at least listening. I didn't mention at all that I do have a little experience in some of these areas as well, because I'm the current treasurer of a condo association down in Florida. You can imagine we just fight over parking places, never mind issues like this. And I'm also the past president there for 3 years. I'm the president of another condo association in Vermont that got flooded last summer, including my own unit. I'm on the CRC committee for many, many years. I'm the vice chair, was the vice chair, and also a 30-year veteran on the Lakes Management Committee, helping to manage the lakes. So I appreciate your time and appreciate your wisdom. And I was going to say, if you ever needed anybody on a subcommittee or something along some of those areas, I'd be happy to try to serve on some of those, even though I'm only a seasonal guy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment in the room?
We have Zoom now, we can get you right from Florida or Vermont.
I do Zoom meetings everywhere.
Excuse me.
Just state your name and address.
I said Sandra Janik, 380 Prospect Street. Okay. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your work and everything with both of the Library Commission and the Charter Commission. And this is interesting. I got the impression, since everybody's coming up and thanking you for this, I'm supposed to do this. But the embarrassing part is, I couldn't hear who you actually appointed to the Town and Charter, the Charter Commission. Could you be so kind as to repeat those names, so whether I'm supposed to say, thank you for considering, and I understand why you didn't pick me, or hey, gee, thanks a lot, I appreciate that. So tell me which one I'm supposed to be doing.
The names are Jeremy Lambert, Frederick Dubois, Eric Remington, Michael Haynes, and Ray Dalbert.
Okay, well, thank you for considering me. I'll be happy to help in any way I can in the future.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right, is there any public comment on Zoom? Is there any public comment on Zoom? All right, seeing none, I'll move on to the next item, and that is selectmen updates. So a few updates. The budget passed. For those of you who were able to attend, thank you. And once again, thank you for all your work on the budget. Our new finance director starts on June 1st, so we will welcome her shortly.
What's her name?
Andy Moore.
The actress?
Not the actress.
Actress or a singer? I thought-
She's both.
Oh,
She's
okay,
both.
gotcha.
This one has 10 years of finance director experience. I think she'll serve us well, a little better. The cold storage building, if you look out the window, that's basically completed. I think it's just the foundation left to pour. That might have already been poured. The art walk in May Market is this weekend, so if you guys have some time on Saturday, you might already see the statues that have been set up around town. The Memorial Day Parade, that's 2 Mondays from now, so hopefully I'll see you guys there if you have some time. And we do have foreclosure notices that are going out, and we're preparing for tax sale at some point later this year in the very near future, so just making you guys aware we're moving forward with that part of tax collection.
So, Jerry Mahoney, I just want to remind everyone that we've got the Dustin Doyen Memorial. I think it's a 5K. I believe it's Saturday morning, Memorial Day weekend. So if folks are interested and they want to participate or donate or do whatever, I believe that Brian and Karen Doyen used the proceeds for scholarships and so forth.
Thank you. I will piggyback on that they are our 50-50 raffle sponsor this year for the summer fair, so all the proceeds from the 50-50 that's going to them, their organization. So that'll go towards the scholarship money, so purchase a couple tickets. Anyone else have anything to share?
I have one thing. My friend Erica, who's the owner of the Shamrock Cafe on 159, does a rock walk in the month of May. So she lives in Enfield, and she puts one of those Army rucksacks on and walks from her house to work every day. And she's taking donations to help stop soldier suicide. And her goal is $30,000, and I think she's up to like $15,000 already. So
I think she was number 2 in the country.
I think she was, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, to do that every day for a month that's a lot.
Do you know where we can donate?
I don't.
At the
You could
Shamrock.
go to the Shamrock, I know she's got a jar down there. But I'll get more information. I didn't think of it till I heard that.
Is the Shamrock on the left or right when you go down the street?
It's on the right.
On the right-hand
Okay,
side.
all right.
Yep.
Is that with outdoor?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I remember hearing someone tell me.
All right, anyone else have anything to share? All right, well then I will entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
We did good. Is that everybody else?
Right.